My every notion puts energy in motion. Words I say come back to me. My every notion puts energy in motion. I choose my words carefully. My every notion puts energy in motion. With my thoughts I build my life anew, anew, anew life. As I speak my words of power, my every notion puts energy in motion. My life opens like a flower. My every notion puts energy in motion. Words and thoughts are seeds that grow, and this is why I know my every notion puts energy in motion. My every notion puts energy. I know what you say is what you get. What you say is what you get. A lifetime guaranteed sure bet that what you say is what you get. My every notion puts energy in motion. When I feel I've lost my way, my every notion puts energy in motion. I find perfect words to say. My every notion puts energy in motion. I look within, I make a choice, I take a breath, I live my voice. Ooh. Ah. My every notion puts energy in motion. My every notion puts energy in motion. My every notion puts energy in motion. My every notion puts energy in motion.
Welcome. And my name is Kathleen Healy, and I'm the platform assistant today. And we are very fortunate. We have our very own Reverend Karen Gray as our speaker today. And Glen, who just got us started here, this is our guest musician, Glen Roethel. And it's called True Happiness. Happy are those who reject the advice of evil people, who do not follow the example of sinners or join those who have no use for God. Instead, they find joy in obeying the law of the Lord, and they study it day and night. They are like trees that grow beside a stream, that bear fruit at the right time, and whose leaves do not dry up. They succeed in everything they do. But evil people are not like this at all. They are like straw that the wind blows away. Sinners will be condemned by God and kept apart from God's own people. The righteous are guided and protected by the Lord, but the evil are on the way to their doom. Amen.
I am the keeper of the majesty that's deep within me and must express itself. I am a channel of prosperity. There is enough for me and everyone else. I give life to every word spoken as I move through everything. Do you know who I am? I am, I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am. keeper of the golden key that opens any door and welcomes everyone. I am a lighthouse for humanity. The light that shines in me is 10,000 suns. I give hope to the weary travelers who have stumbled and lost their way. Do you know who I am? I am, I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am. Are you? I am, I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you to Kathleen and to all who have brought us to this point. And I'm delighted, as always, to be your speaker today, to be with everybody. My talk today is called, Is Truth Too Good to Be True? And I chose this topic because of many, many conversations and encounters when it appears that we are finding truth to be too good to be true. So I thought, yeah, let's examine this. All right, now there is a concept, a practice called radical acceptance. You may be familiar with radical acceptance, and if not, you won't find it hard to grasp. It goes like this: when something is painful or difficult, by practicing radical acceptance, we don't pretend, we don't avert our eyes, we face the hard truth so that we don't add to our discomfort by living in conflict with reality. We don't want to live in denial. That's not healthy. That's not productive. Facing reality is part of our path to peace. That's radical acceptance. So it's pretty easy to grasp, not always easy to do, because avoidance, denial, sneaky little buggers, we're not always even aware it's what we're doing. We need to make a deliberate choice to live with reality when it's hard. Radical acceptance takes discipline and determination, and there are some skills, clear-cut skills that we can learn and practice. This is useful with something relatively small, like a recipe or a manicure that didn't turn out great. Also with a big problem, like a serious injury or conflict or world affairs. Life provides lots of opportunities to practice radical acceptance. And if we accept those opportunities, we can spend less time in distress by truly being with what is. It's a tremendous opportunity for growth, and the best growth, the growth of our spiritual spine. So today I want to add a twist, what do you know, a unity twist to this very worthwhile practice. Typically, radical acceptance helps us be with what feels too difficult. The unity twist is this: can we radically accept what seems too good to be true? Do you ever resist what seems too good to be true? Now, in this community of listeners here, some of us are fairly new to unity teachings. And I'm talking about unity because we're unity. Unity doesn't own the truth. We happen to express the truth, but the truth is the truth and is eternal and has been around before the beginning of unity, right? But I'm talking about unity because we're unity. So unity teaching, some of us have been hearing them for decades. For me, it's over 20 years now. They are still mind-blowing. I hear them sometimes and I'm like, oh, wait, what? So here's one really fundamental unity truth teaching that we were all offered in this week's E-Blessed on Thursday. Jan shares these things with us, and I thought, how perfect, because this is the kind of thing that just comes our way on a regular basis. Check this out. This is from Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. Divine mind is the one and only reality. Sounds nice. Sounds spiritual. Sounds kind of poetic. Stop and think about it. What? The one and only reality, divine mind? That's only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 words. That is loaded. And from that simple, poetic, beautiful statement, not only does it feel good, not only do you get a sense that that seems uplifting, but you get some real specific, concrete truths like there is no evil. How could there be evil if divine mind is the only reality? Divine mind doesn't include evil. What about this one, which we know as the golden key? I can address any problem simply by thinking about God instead of thinking about the problem. That seems either radical or overly simplistic. And yet, divine mind is the one and only reality. So, yeah, sitting around thinking about the problem, which is a fiction, isn't going to help anything. Thinking about God would be the solution. So, that basic fundamental slide is that basic fundamental truth. From that stems all the other truth teachings. What might seem ethereal is actually absolutely practical. Fundamental unity teachings are so very promising, so very encouraging, so completely reassuring. It's a real departure from traditional thinking, and therefore maybe too good to be true. I started reading Joel Goldsmith's The Infinite Way. Maybe you've done that. Maybe you did it long ago. If you haven't, I recommend it. Take your time. It's meant to be read slowly. One quote from him: "Be suspicious of the truth that seems reasonable." Because often truth is a departure from ordinary thinking. But why? Why do we resist something that's really good? Why do we need so much discipline to accept something that's loving and wonderful? The fact is, when it's mind-blowing, when it seems incredibly profound, too good to be true, I think we're on the right track. We feel and we know the truth in our hearts, especially while in spiritual practice or in our spiritual community. But doubt, man, doubt, it's always right there within reach. Old habits, hard to break. What limits us is that we tend to accept what we have already come to believe in. And I don't know how old you are. I'm 20. I'm not. But however old you are, that's how long you've been coming to believe something over all the years of your life. That's why we need focus and discipline to adopt a new truth, a new understanding. So let's consider Myrtle Fillmore's experience. Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, her demonstration in the start of the Unity movement, with Myrtle being inspired to say over and over the affirmation, go ahead, say it with me: "I am a child of God and therefore I do not inherit sickness." Now, a lot of us have heard that a lot of times. Sounds nice. Imagine what it was like for her to realize that. Imagine realizing it the first time. Hey, I am a child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. She had been very sick since childhood. And at the age of 40, she was told she had 6 months to live. And then she and husband Charles heard a lecture by metaphysician E.B. Weeks that brought her to the realization that her destiny could not be so limited. This was the realization of her own divine nature. It was a mind-blowing realization. And she realized this was not just a good idea. This was the truth. She was a child of God with an infinite blessing of a divine inheritance. And I think it just landed with clarity and precision. It fit. And I believe, I hope, I'm sure that all of us have had those moments when we hear something, we receive something, maybe from outside, something we read or hear, or maybe something we just feel. And we just know it, and it's greater and more pure and beautiful and empowering than anything that's ever come to us before. And what Myrtle did, which was brilliant and empowering, was she hung on to it. She didn't take that idea and go, gee, that was a good idea. I wonder what I should fix for dinner tonight. She kept that idea, accepted it as the truth of her divinity, and she knew it had to overcome a lifetime of believing otherwise. So every day she spent hours in prayer and meditation, reaffirming that truth with that affirmation. This was her process of radically accepting the truth of her wholeness, complete with perfect health, even though she had been seeing illness in her body for all those years, really all her life. I don't remember now how long she lived, but past 80 years old. They had given her 6 months. She got more than 40 more years. She had rejected what her senses had been telling her, and she affirmed the spiritual truth. She affirmed the truth. She realized it's not too good to be true. It's true. I think it's very understandable that maybe she, up until that point, and maybe all of us from time to time, we sometimes fail to grasp and to keep hold of the divine truth. We forget how complete divine peace and prosperity are because we spend so many hours with the material world, which is really nice. The world of our senses. Love the senses. I love them. They're great. This is the limited human way. What is available to us, meanwhile, is the infinite divine way. So let's do a bit of Bible study. We always like that. To look at scripture in the unity way is to see how the stories tell us something about our own experience and how the characters in the stories represent something about ourselves.
From Genesis 32:22. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome."
All right. Thank you. I'm so glad I arranged for an understudy because you never know what's going to happen here. Thank you to you both. All right. So we've got Jacob on a journey, traveling alone in the night. Suddenly, he is accosted by a man. And this is a wrestling match that lasts until daybreak. As you see, they are both very fit. So this is going to go on for a while. Now, who is this wrestling opponent? It's unclear. We read that it's a man. Very often in commentary, in art, it's referred to as an angel. You see a lot of this Jacob wrestling with the angel. Some say that Jacob is wrestling with God, and maybe that's kind of the idea, though the passage doesn't exactly explicitly say so. What we do know is that he's not wrestling with an adversary. That's an important thing to know. A challenge doesn't always represent an enemy. As a little side note here, the place where this occurs is called Peniel, which, according to Charles Fillmore's Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, translates to mean the face of God, or metaphysically, the inner realization of the divine presence. So that's what Jacob experiences there, the realization of the divine presence. And when we wrestle with truth, which we do, right? That's what we've been talking about. This is where we are. We're at a point of the realization of the divine presence. So Jacob puts his all into this wrestling match, and ultimately he prevails to the point that he is exhausted. But he says, I won't let you go until you bless me. And what is the blessing that he receives? A name change, which is a change in identity, to be Israel, one with God. So this is a transformative moment, that wrestling with truth, that wrestling with God. Transformation. So why the struggle? Why the wrestling match? Why not just get the blessing up front? So much drama. I guess Jacob is a lot like us. It is sometimes hard to just take what's really good, to just accept the truth. Metaphysically, I've seen it put like this. Jacob wanted to do things the human way. He was being invited to experience the divine way. And the blessing, the identity of Israel, is doing things the divine way, knowing his divinity. It's the opportunity presented to all of us. And Joel Goldsmith puts it this way: exchanging our material sense of existence for the understanding and consciousness of life as spiritual, right? Exchanging the material for the spiritual. When it's us, when we're the ones wrestling, here's what we bring to the wrestling match. We are resisting the truth of complete oneness with God. I'll say it again. When we are wrestling, we are resisting the truth of complete oneness with God. We're bringing to that wrestling match our belief in duality. We're saying God's over there, I'm over here, I'm going to wrestle this out. We are resisting the truth of no lack, no limitation. We are resisting the truth of perfect health, perfect wisdom, perfect vitality. We are challenged to see beyond appearances. And Jesus said, don't judge by appearances. We are challenged to rise above habitual thinking. Well, no wonder these habits have been taking place for a long time, taking shape. But the truth will bless us when we've had enough of the struggle. We got to decide, I've had it. Bless me now. I'm ready. Within our hearts, we have those moments when those truth statements are spoken to us, for us, by us. They don't just sound nice. When we say God is the one presence, yeah, it makes sense. Not just logical sense, but spiritual sense. Our intuition is awakened. See, I made up a word, awakened. It's awakened, enlivened, and we are spiritually at home. We know that feeling, right? That's when we want to do what Myrtle did and grab it and not let go. That's what Jacob did when he grabbed. After all the wrestling, he wouldn't let go. And he said, I'm not letting go until you bless me. What was the blessing? Unity with God, one with God. Now, those moments, I'm going to call them magical moments, even though they are bigger than magic. We may not totally understand it, but we don't have to. We don't have to totally understand it to accept it. I don't really understand how electricity works. But that doesn't mean I insist on living by candlelight. I accept electricity. There are lots of things I don't understand. Air travel, telecommunications, photosynthesis, can barely say it, laparoscopic surgery. These are things that can, I know, be understood theoretically by me, but I don't require that. I just allow them to benefit me. Same with the apparent miracle of firefighters. I am told that people I don't even know will rush into my burning house to save me. People volunteer for this. I would not believe it, except I know it's true. Unimaginable. The world is filled with good that is beyond my capacity to comprehend, and I know it's true for you as well. These are all things that we radically accept. Our minds are capable of making incredible leaps. And one of the leaps that we want to choose is this: we live a life of infinite divine goodness. We live a life of infinite divine goodness. When truth tells you there is no evil, and your experience tells you, yeah, but look at the headlines, stop. This is the wrestling match. Constantly evaluate according to truth, not by appearances. Someone might say to me, well, Karen, how can you believe these so-called truths? How can you say there's no lack when some months it's really hard to pay the bills? And my truth abiding response is that I choose not to judge by appearances, but to know the truth in spite of appearances, because that is the way. Unity's first basic principle tells us there is one presence and one power. Is your first basic principle, God is the one presence except for this pollen that gets me every time? Is your first basic principle, God is the one power except for this boss who ruins my life every Monday? Or is your first basic principle, God is the one presence and the one power, period? Some days it's easier than others. Keep wrestling. That's the wrestling. Are we willing to be in radical acceptance of truth, even when truth seems too good to be true? Unity minister Reverend Alan White says, where God is revealed, false powers must disappear. I want those false powers to disappear. So I'm opening up for God to be revealed. It's up to us. And that revelation of God is what we seek through prayer, through study, through spiritual community, all of which add up to our wrestling match. And it is a worthy match. And in addition to all that disciplined practice, a more direct approach is something we don't get enough of: stillness, to be still and open to the omnipresence. In our stillness, we are reminded that the omnipresence is always right here. The divine way or the human way? Which will we choose? That is the wrestling match. And remember, the match can go on for a long time, until daybreak, until we are able to see by the light of dawn. But we have to endure in order to be blessed. Let's be like Myrtle Fillmore, who recognized the truth and chose to have her consciousness saturated with the truth in order to live with nothing less. Let's be willing to see and accept divine truth as our personal destiny. What would that be like? What would that be like? Let's take it into meditation. with our meditation song. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Now find yourselves comfortable, and loved ones, be still. Still the body, still the mind, open the heart. Know that all is well. Allow this moment to awaken your consciousness to spirit that lives, moves, and has its being within you, around you, and as you. Let infinite goodness capture your attention and inspire your commitment to truth. Let's spend a few moments in the prayer of silence. Time for listening and discerning. Now, loved ones, choose for yourself a few words of encouragement and appreciation as you let healing, enrichment, and empowerment come in as your rightful and sacred inheritance. Commit these chosen words to your immediate memory so that you can call on them in the coming hours and days. And return now fully conscious of this supportive moment and community, time with the presence of friends and spirit, affirming as I speak the words, Divine Mind is the one and only reality, and I am a child of God with a divine inheritance. And now, let's all come back. And we'll be blessed by more music from Glen.
I wanna feel your cool, cool shade coming down over me. Won't you take me to a place of tranquility? Carry me on down the way like a boat on the sea. Won't you row me to your shore so gently? God Even as I close my eyes, waiting for sweet release, I feel so safe knowing you are holding me. God, God, I wanna feel your cool, cool shade.
For my closing prayer, this is from Ted Loder's Gorillas of Grace book. Thank you for each moment, it's called. Lord, thank you for each moment, for the blue sky moment, the softening earth, the freshening wind, for the sap flowing, the bird nesting, the yellow bush, for my full heart, and the joy rising in me. Soften me to receive whatever comes as a gift and to praise you in it. Lord, thank you for each moment, for the twilight moment, the pause, the good tired, for the quiet reflection, the slowing down, the mysterious sunset, for my contented heart, and the wisdom growing inside me. Gentle me to feel whatever comes as a gift and to praise you in it. Amen.